Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Pulse Pod. Joining me this week is Adam and Danny. Danny of the Red Radio and Adam, friend of the pod. Hello, gentlemen. How are we today?
Not bad, mate. How are you?
Excellent. Not too bad, Adam, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad at all, thank you.
Excellent. Now, straight into Wealdstone on Saturday. Adam, you were there, and myself and Danny weren't there, so you have the first person view. Talk us through. Seemed like a game of two halves listening on the radio, but how did you see it from the ground?
Yeah, same as that. It was exactly that. Frustrating, really frustrating. Obviously, having a bit of time off due to the Barnet postponement. You'd like to have thought we were winning there with some sort of physical advantage. Obviously, Wilson played in the week against Sutton, so I did go into that with huge optimism. I just thought we've got the quality. Wilson are down there, they're struggling, but no, it was frustrating, like I say. Obviously, getting the goal after 20 minutes. Good finish from Medine. Great pass out wide to Ferguson, and then the run into the box from Medine. Great first touch, and then great finish. For me, that goal, you can just tell Medine's been where he's been in his career, floating League One, Championship level. It was just such a good goal, and for him, it was just another great individual performance. But then I was just thinking to myself before we recorded, did we really have many good goal scoring opportunities after that? I don't recall many, if any at all. It was just frustrating. There was just not the intensity I hoped for, not the tempo, and the second half was just the complete opposite. It was just as if like we were happy to sit back, let Wealdstone push us back, let them probe, let them have the chances, and you just knew that we're getting closer and closer as time went on. And look, it was a scruffy goal, but it was a goal that they deserved. In the end, I think the result was a fair one. I think anyone who was there, I think Lenny Lawrence himself said that. Um, so yeah, it was just frustrating, really. 2 points definitely dropped, and I think with the news that followed that game about Mancini being out for an extended period of time, Gray as well, I think it boards the question now. It's certainly time to look at what's available, bring in a few bodies, bring in some quality. I don't just mean, no offense, obviously Loa started that game, but it was another performance where you just think, well, what's the point? I don't rate the bloke. I don't think there's any sort of real quality there. I'd like to think that's his last performance in a pool shirt. So yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see what happens this week, if anything. But given where we are in the league, I think if we have a real ambition, a real desire to be up there competing for sixth, seventh place, then I'd like to think we bring in a, a couple of additions, good quality additions to help us get to the end of the season.
Yeah, just a quick other word on the match as well before we move on to that news that you've just mentioned. Adam Smith in the second half, he spoke before, and we've all spoken before about his, let's say, inconsistent form since he's come into the side, but that was most certainly his best performance in a Pulse shirt.
Yeah, without doubt. I've questioned him. I've seen a few performances and I just think, my goodness, like when's Joel Dixon coming back? But in fairness to him, he made at least one, two like really outstanding saves. For large parts of the game, kept us in it, rightfully in team of the week. But yeah, outstanding.
And you mentioned Mancini and Gray there. Danny, I'll come to you, get you involved. 3 months, I think, for Mancini, 2 months for Gray. It might be the other way around. I can't remember. But it is a huge blow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which one would you say? I mean, they're both quite important to the team, you would imagine, but which one would you think is the more crucial to replace?
Joe Gray, and there's a reason why. Because I think we've got Adam Campbell coming back soon, haven't we? Probably next couple of weeks.
He said several weeks, didn't he? And that was just before Christmas because he missed
Yeah,
the
so I'd
Gateshead
imagine
game.
a
Yeah.
couple of extra weeks. But I think, as mentioned there by Adam, Loa can't start in a pull shed again. So I think we need somebody on the opposite side to Charman. Even if it is, a month loan. I know we don't, not a big fan of them, but even if it is a case of a month loan, just as a case of numbers more than anything, because that bench at the weekend was very, very thin going forward. I mean, you looked at who we had on the bench to come on. I think there was Kean Foreman, academy kid. That was it in terms of attacking options. So I think even if it is a case of numbers, we need the quality to start, but we also need numbers off the bench as well.
It's interesting that you say that. We're recording this on Wednesday. It's about 5:30 on Wednesday. I've just received something on my phone. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's come from a fairly reliable source saying that we're supposedly signing a striker on loan from West Brom. It's called Ray's Cleary.
Oh wow,
No idea who he
he's
is.
just been at Walsall,
Yeah,
and look at Walsall.
well, there you go. If he's made the impact that it would suggest at Walsall, if he's been part of that, then you never know. That could be something good for us. I mean, it's strange, really, if he's been on loan at Walsall and he's dropping down to the National League. That's a bit strange,
Probably
isn't it?
probably the lack of game time, I'd imagine. 'Cause, I mean, if it is that, I mean, I know they've just had a striker recalled as well, Walsall at the minute from Stoke, who scored 12.
Nathan Lowe,
So
and
I
then he
mean,
scored
it
straight
is
away at
hard
West
to
Brom. Yeah,
it is very hard if you're to break into that team when you've got a striker that's scoring like that.
that's very true. I mean, another link that we've had earlier on today as well. Dom Scare at the Shield Gazette linked Jamie Miley, who is at Newcastle at the moment. He's a midfielder, so potentially one for Mancini there as well.
Yeah,
I mean, I say which one's more important, Mancini or Gray? Gray's probably he's probably right simply because we don't have that much in the way of
that's what I think it is.
wingers.
I think in terms of who's had better recent performances, you would say probably Anthony Mancini, but I just think we can get by a lot better with Campbell coming back in a few weeks, going that way rather than having no left winger.
Yeah, fair point. Adam, do you agree?
Yeah, without doubt. The, it's like what Danny said. You look at the bench on Saturday. You know you're chasing a game. You want to win it. You look at the bench. Who do you look for inspiration? Who's going to come off that bench and realistically grab the game by the scruff of the neck and change it and get you over the line? No offense, Keane's obviously a bairn with very little in the way of experience, if any. Sloggis, who's hasn't been the greatest of signings. So yeah, you definitely say Gray would be the harder to replace. Obviously, you've got Campbell, who, to be fair, just after the transition to Lenny, Limbrick, and Skelton, he started to look good. You start to see the real Adam Campbell, why we'd signed him. So for me, yeah, a winger. If we can get another forward in this West Brom guy, which I've just seen by Peter O'Rourke, then brilliant. I don't know much about them, either the Lewis Miley or the striker in question, but by all means, they're welcome.
To be fair, anyone who comes in and makes an impact is more than welcome at the club. We mentioned
Yeah,
Kazanga Lualua. There's also Matthew Bonswell, a left back. I believe both of those players are out of contract in the relatively near future. It may well be this week.
yeah.
It's very difficult to suggest that either of those should be kept on at this point, isn't it?
I think it's tough for Bondswell because there was a lot of question marks when, especially when Sal was here about Fergie. A lot of people were and then as soon as Bondswell's came in, whether that be competition or whatever it is, Fergie's gone sort of back to what we would expect from him. He's been a lot better in terms of going forward, and I just think it's been tough for him. But even when he's played, he's not exactly set the world alight. So free up them funds and go elsewhere.
I mean, myself and Adam, we were at the Tamworth Trophy game when
Yeah,
Bonswell got his start, and that's. I'm not sure if he's come off the bench since, but that's almost certainly his only start for Pulse. He wasn't brilliant, was he, Adam?
wasn't great. No.
No, I thought physically just looked off it. He just looked. I know it's hard when you've only played one game. Tamworth obviously played a nigh on full strength team, but didn't make an impression. Loa started that game, and the games that Loa has started again, Saturday just gone, hasn't made an impression. He hasn't exactly showed the signs that Medine showed. Obviously, Medine at the start of his time looked off it. You know, he didn't look full match fit, but as time's gone on, he's made an impression. He's scoring goals and he's proven his worth. Whereas Loa, look, I'd be over the moon just if he scores one. Do you know what I mean? Just one set of front flips, I'd be happy. Do you know what I mean? I'd be an happy man. But there's no signs of it. You know what I mean? He's going to leave. There'll be no front flips. But like Danny's rightfully said, let's just try and free up a bit of money. Obviously, Honorese is staying out on loan.
Yeah.
Maidenhead, yep.
I mean, if we can move on a few others, I don't know, Wallace, Loggett, just try and free up the money that we can. You know, obviously the comments that came out after the Wealdstone game, whether it's been misinterpreted or not, about one lone player. I'm not quite sure. I know a few people have jumped on that, so Hopefully there's more than one. Hopefully we see a few, but yeah, free up the money.
Yeah, free up the money. I mean, you mentioned there about the one on loan. Whether that's literal, whether it's sort of just metaphorically, we need loan players. I think at this point we do certainly need people in. It'd be very difficult to go through the rest of the season, certainly with the two injuries we've just had. And I think even before those injuries, we probably needed reinforcements as well. It's that midfield conundrum has sort of provided us with the answer to where should we strengthen because we need midfielders. We've lost two midfielders. But I mean, left back, you've mentioned Ferguson there, Danny, about his form. True, he has sort of maintained a better standard of form. Is it still worth looking for a replacement for Bondswell just to keep that competition in that place?
I think so. Don't get me wrong. I don't think just completely disregard it, but I think there's bigger priorities. I don't think that we should be saying, "Oh, we need to get a left back in." If one becomes available and we feel happy with where we are with the rest of the squad, then great. But I think get midfielder, winger, probably even I don't know, maybe two wingers just in case of depth, etc., etc. And then if one's available, then why not? But I can't see that being a big priority.
Fair enough. And we'll have a look at the Saturday game with Woking now. The reverse fixture will go down in infamy for this season. The one on Bank Holiday Monday, where everything fell apart for the second Bank Holiday Monday in a row. Um, Adam, you first. Did you go to that game?
The walking away one, 3-2.
Yep.
I did. I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, it was virtually similar to Chesterfield. We had an excellent start. I think Joe Gray scored twice, and then obviously it fell apart after Jack Hunter was sent off. Was Woking winning that day more down to us collapsing, or were they very good once we went down to 10 men?
I think just the whole circumstances around the sending off, I think, massively influenced it. I think you knew really more or less when Woking got one. I mean, not to be negative because I'm not that sort of individual, but given what happened last Bank Holiday Monday, you just had you had a funny feeling. They clearly got a bit of second wind and they got two, and you just knew what was going to happen. And just don't you? Sometimes when you watch these games, you have a feel for it, and that game you had a feel what was going to happen, and it was disheartening, really, given the start that we had. We flew out the traps, two fantastic finishes from Gray, but like we've said many times before, Pools and Bank Holiday Mondays just don't go hand in hand, unfortunately.
And I mean, given the way that the season's panned out, Woking are below us in the table. We've had let's say, the inconsistent run of form more recently. Is it a game that you think we could and maybe should win?
Yeah, I mean, I said the last time I was on, if you look at the next 7 games, for me, win the games that we must win. Wealdstone for me was a must win. Like, I don't look at that with any other viewpoint than it's 2 points dropped. I think if we get a draw, I mean, albeit if the man of the game goes in a way there where you think, well, draws a fair result, then fair enough. But going into it, it's 3 points, it's a must win, especially with a quick turnaround against Barnet. Do you know what I mean? If you lose then, you lose to Barnet, then, so I think for me, Saturday's a must win.
It's an important week coming up, isn't it? Danny, I'll come to you next. We've got Woking away, Woking at home, Barnet away, and then Braintree away, isn't it? The 1st of December. 1st of December. 1st of February, even, honestly. Wishing for Christmas back again. But yeah, anyway, it's a very important week, as will be the one in mid-February when we play 3 home games in a week as well. Chance to build momentum, or would you prefer the week between fixtures?
I think we definitely need the. I would like to say a week between the fixtures. If we'd have came off of, as Adam said there, if we'd have came off Wealdstone with a win, then I would have said, great, let's keep rolling, get a win on Saturday, and then carry that confidence into Barnet. But I just think that with the way that that game went, we need to sort of. It feels like one of those where we need to be on a good run of form to beat Barnet because of how talented they are and their depth, their strength in depth compared to ours as well. Because I think that could be another game where it'll come down to substitutes, and I mean the depth in their squad's ridiculous, and that's where I think games against them teams higher up the table, that's where it'll come down to, and I think that's the main priority why we need to strengthen.
Fair points made there. How many points do you see from the next three games?
I would like to say 6 or 7. I would like to say 6 or 7. I think Barnet get a draw with Barnet, great. But if you do get beat by Barnet, you then have to win the other two. And same as if we don't pick up 3 points on Saturday, we then have to win both of those if we want any shot of sort of keeping up with the pack.
Yeah, true. I mean, Adam, you've indicated you're going down to Barnet as well on Tuesday. Um, is it one that you're going into with expectation, or is it similar to what Danny said there? A point, a good result. Anything better than that's a bonus.
I mean, look, I want Pools to win every game. There's not an ounce of me that goes expecting to win because I don't expect Pools to win. I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. Barnet, I mean, look at the form table. I've got it up here. They have won 5 of the last 10, drew the other. They haven't lost in the last 10 games. So they are the informed team in the league. They are where they are for a reason. I think if we can get a point, fantastic. Um, Hopefully we can go to Barnet with 3 points already in hand from Saturday and then kick on from there. But it's going to be a tough night. It's going to be a really tough night.
Yeah, they've got Maidenhead at home on Saturday, which is one you'd expect them to win. So that'll probably be 11 by the time we go there. They're third currently. They could be top by the time we play them. But yeah, strength and depth obviously a factor as well. Even though they've sold Nicky Kabamba, which obviously means he won't be scoring against his former club, thank the Lord, because I think we've all had enough of that this season from players scoring against us. But they've signed Lee and Lovu, I want to say, is that how you pronounce it, from Borehamwood? He's a good striker. He's looked good against us in the past, so we'll have to see how that goes. It is a difficult one. I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned it before on the podcast when I went there the last time. 0-0, freezing cold. Possibly the dullest live game I've seen involving Hartlepool United, and there's some competition for that title. And there was just nothing in the game at all. And obviously Barnet have improved since then, so we'll see how that goes. Just moving back to the immediate future and moving back to Saturday. Um, is We've already said we expect to win. Well, Adam doesn't expect to win. He's just said, but we should win. Let's say. Score predictions, gentlemen. Who wants to stick their neck out first?
I'll
I'll
go.
go.
Oh,
Oh,
go on
you
then.
go on,
Go
Danny.
on then.
No, go on, Danny. You take the honours, mate.
I'm gonna say 2-1.
To
A nice
Woking,
honest
yeah.
two. No chance. Well, definitely a chance, but no, I think we'll go 2 up, and then I think it'll be the
A
one
nervy
where Phil's
finish.
like to give us a mini heart attack at the end.
Adam.
God. I'm going to say 3-0 Pools. Whether that's me being realistic or optimistic, I don't know. But I'll say 3-0 Pools.
That is a turnaround from about what 3 minutes ago when he wasn't expecting to win any game.
No, no,
Any
no. What
European
I said
squad.
was, no, I think no, for context, I said I'm not going to Barnet expecting to win. A home
Fair
games
enough.
against Woking, you'd think Pools, that's a game you expect Pools to win. Do you know what I mean? So, for context.
I mean, do you expect him to keep with the two up top?
I think after Saturday, yes. I don't mind this. I think Medine at the moment,
He's our
he's in good
form
form.
attacker, isn't he?
Yeah, he's scoring goals. He's in form. I think for me, looking at New Year's Day, looking at the Wealdstone game, I think there's a good little relationship there with him and Manny D. I think I think they've both got the intelligence. You've got the little flick-ons from Medine, so I wouldn't change that at all. Um, Obviously, whether he changes Loa, the problem is, like we've said, who for?
Is Manny D's lack of goal scoring a concern at all? Potentially.
I mean, if you've
I
got
know he's
Medine
the top
scoring,
scorer this season as well, because we went over this when we did the ratings and stuff. Obviously, he's got the numbers behind him, but certainly in recent times, he scored against Yeovil. But either side of that, he's not been at his goal scoring best. You could say.
I think even performance-wise, I don't think he's been great. I wouldn't stick my neck out on the line whether people agree or not. I don't think he's been great at all. But I think if you've got other people who are chipping in, if you've got people like Manny D who are out of form, then I think it's imperative that you've got other people who are going to stand up and, score the goals. You've got Darren Medine, you've got other people who are capable of it. So, look, I think he's just got to try and play his way through it. But like I say, I don't think he's been fantastic this season, despite the contributions. dare
Danny,
I
you
say.
may well be talking to him on Saturday. Stick your neck
Yeah.
out.
Well, fingers crossed because that'll mean that he's bagged a couple.
That's fair. That's a very fair point. Yeah.
But yeah, I think he would probably be the first one to say that he's not been at his best over
Mhm.
sort of the last couple of weeks or so. But I think there's a situation where if I should say when he does find his form again, hopefully Medina's still firing, and then we could end up with a front two if they're both firing that can cause some serious problems.
Fingers crossed. Couple of assists from Charman might not go amiss as well if
Yeah.
he should be fit to start, but if he's fit to start on his way back. We haven't really mentioned the defence much. We mentioned Adam Smith's performance on Saturday. Adam, you were there. Was there anything particular about the defence that stood out? We've got Waterfall and Parks. That's settled. It does seem like a settled back four now, doesn't it? You've got Dodds, Parks, Waterfall, and Ferguson at the back.
Yeah, I think the one notable thing was that Waterfall wasn't headbutting anybody.
I was thinking that when I was asking the question. Yeah.
I mean, not
To
to
be
obviously,
in fairness, there were a lot of players between him and Manny D on
yeah.
the pitch.
I mean, I had to be mentioned, but no, I mean,
Fair play.
Parks is a colossus. He is Parks is Parks. Do you know what I mean? It's solid. I think it is a solid back line. It really, really is. I don't think there's anything else I can really add to that.
I say, to be fair, coming back to the incident, because we can laugh at about it now because it's been dealt with. There's nothing really come of it. Both players haven't really done anything since. It, it, was it well handled in your view, Lenny Lawrence? Seemed very statement-like, didn't it? The way that he sort of just addressed it, dealt with it, and it's just been moved on now, hasn't it? Really?
If I'm being realistic, if I'm being honest, I don't see how he could have dealt with it any other way.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think the club had to comment. I think it's just unfortunate, really. I mean, look, it probably does happen a lot more than you think behind the scenes. Any
Absolutely,
football
yeah.
club, do you know what I mean? You've got emotions. You know, we're a football club with a bit of pressure behind us. You know, there's demands to get back to the football league, but it's just unfortunate that it got leaked. Obviously, no one knows the full extent of what happened, but look, it's over and done with. You move on. You know, there's more serious things to focus on. Um, yeah, it's just important that the club commented on it to have. And that's that. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't
Was it
expecting anything else to be said. I don't
was it a
think.
surprise that the ball started when you saw the lineup? Given the fraud, because usually when something like that happens, whether it be obviously our level or higher levels, if anything leaks or anything like that happens and something may or may not have gone on, usually the manager takes either one or both out of the spotlight a little bit. Was it a surprise that the ball started?
I asked the question. I think after it happened, I thought, wow. I thought 2 o'clock Saturday could be interesting because I thought, well, if there has been some sort of punishment handed out, then it could reflect in the team sheet. But obviously, they both started. I mean, I think it's important that they both started. I mean, the two influential players in both ends of the pitch. I mean, I think if they've both apologised, if they've both made up for behind the scenes, then we just crack on as normal, business as normal, and I'm quite relieved that the team sheet was what it was on Saturday in that sense.
Fair point, Danny. Who would win in a fight, Waterfall or Manny D? No, I'm only joking. You don't have to answer that. To be fair, that'd be a great feature for future, wouldn't it? Who would win in a fight between who and who? We can bring in past players as well. We'll get them done. A bit like that celebrity boxing that we see these days. Honestly. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan of boxing anyway, but my God, it just feels like a cash grab these days. Anyway, moving back to Pulse. Near future, we've spoken about Walking Barnett. Obviously Braintree next week as well. We've said previously it's a run where we expect to get a lot of points in. Given the 1-1 draw at Wealdstone, is that still the case? Obviously, you can't really legislate for injuries like Mancini and Gray, etc., but still optimism to go ahead.
In what sense? What do you mean?
Well, draws and results that don't necessarily correlate to what should happen or what we feel should
Oh,
happen or what we feel we deserve. Sometimes they can dampen enthusiasm, can't they? It's a little bit of a double-edged sword recently.
I mean, look, it's one game. It's not defining. Obviously, it's important that Pool's back it up now on Saturday. We can't afford to drop points again. You know, I think if you drop points on Saturday, it's a tough game Tuesday. If you then drop points again on Tuesday, a lot of people will then start asking the question of, well, you know, are we just going to fizzle out and And when you look at the running at the end of the season as well, you've got a lot of the big teams to play: Rochdale, Oldham, Forest Green. I think this is why it's important for Pools to maximise games like Wealdstone. You've got to go down there. I know it's away from home, but no disrespect. When you're playing teams like that, you've got to win. Woking, they're down there, not having a great season. You're at home. You've got to win it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I said to you the last time. I think if we can win the games that we need to win, then it can allow Pools to go to places like Barnet, Sutton, and maybe drop points and get a point as opposed to three. Do you know what I mean? So maybe a win on Saturday might make that point at Wilson look a little bit better.
Yeah, Danny, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, and I think if we're talking about having to win the games that we need to win, I think there's a situation where I don't know if you've seen the news through the week about Solihull Moors. So I
You
don't
can't
know
be
if
having a drink there. Yeah, yeah. Solihull,
that
Andy
could be a
Wings left for
case.
Barrow.
Yeah, that could be a case where they fizzle out, and that would then open up one more space for hopefully Pools to take advantage of. But I mean, you never know. All we can do is just keep, as Adam said, keep winning the games that we have to win. I mean, didn't start great with the draw at Wealdstone, but we can make up for that with a good result against Barnet. Because if you come out of this with 7 points, it doesn't matter how you got the 7 points. It can sort of make that game at the weekend feel okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, you can make a disappointing point into a good point if you then go on and take the points that maybe you weren't expecting to take. It's a fair point to make. And as we've said before, if you win all of your home games and draw all of your away games, you're going to be in a good place at the end of the season, aren't you? Yeah, well, gentlemen, thank you very much for this week. It's 3 games in a week. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring some positive news about Tuesday as well. Not only from the point of view of Barnet away, but hopefully there will be something else I can release on Tuesday that I'll have more details of next week. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and we will see you later on the season.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Jack.